Hello, everybody, and welcome to the, I guess it's September now, edition of Knowledge Quest for Vonage Video. This month we are going to be talking about captions, transcriptions, and summary, which kind of encapsulate a lot of the AI and WebSocket technologies that we have available for video API users. So if you're not familiar with us on the call today, my name is Chris Tankersley. I'm a staff developer advocate, primarily working on our video API, so to help developers actually implement these things into their actual code. And then with me today is also Alex Wu, one of our customer solutions architect who focuses on the video API. So I'll hand it over to Alex to introduce himself.
Great. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. My name is Alex Wu. I work as a solutions architect here at Vonage, which means I can help our customers build solutions using our video. So today we'll be kind of going over some of the ways that you can integrate some of these new AI features into your video API application. So on our agenda today, we have a few different topics we'd like to cover. We're going to start out by why you might want to use captions, transcriptions, and summarizations in your video API sessions, the various AI options that we have for the video API, and then what it's going to take to integrate each of those different features I just mentioned. We're also going to have a little preview of our bidirectional audio socket or bidirectional audio connector feature, which is going to allow you to do some of these types of use cases, but in a custom fashion. So if you want to build your own, you can as well. And at the end, we'll end up taking some Q&A. So for the Q&A, there's a little section over on the right. You can feel free to input your questions. We know that every application is unique, so we know that your specific requirements may be different. We're happy to answer any questions you have on the call, and then we're also going to provide some availability in order for you to follow up and ask more detailed questions about your specific use case after the session. Great. So let's start and talk about why we want to use captions, or why you might want to use captions, transcriptions, and summarization. So there's a few different reasons why you might want to. We can start with captions since it's becoming a common one from an accessibility and compliance perspective. We're seeing a lot of adoption of captions in general, both from a kind of an ADA and accessibility perspective, where there's some regulations around accessibility, as well as just in general to help users be able to understand what's being said. We're seeing more and more captions being used in the industry as a whole. On the transcription and summarization, this is where we're seeing a lot more common AI use cases, things like just capturing records from meetings, doing automated reporting, and doing summarizations after calls for in order to provide context to the users of the call. So from a captions perspective, we ended up putting some statistics here just so you could see how much adoption we're seeing in general for captions in the video industry. So from a younger perspective, we're seeing 59 and 52% of Gen Z and millennial using captions and subtitles respectively. Almost 30% of Americans prefer to have captions and subtitles on when watching content in general. And then about 22% of the US population speak a language other than English. So all of these are good reasons to be able to have captions and make things easier for your users to consume the audio content. One important thing that's been coming up. So there's a FCC regulation that's going to be implemented soon. That's going to require video conferencing services to include captioning. So this is something that if you are building an application or have an application built and you're not aware of this is definitely something to be aware of. Our Captions API will allow you to easily integrate this functionality so that you can meet these compliance standards very easily.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out we will provide the text to speech or the speech to text portion. We do have things that would allow you to do like sign language interpretation, but out of the box, it would just be the speech to text functionality currently in 2025 that we provide.
Exactly. Great. So with that covered, let's jump into some AI options for the video API. So we have included a little diagram here about what your options are from a AI perspective. So the things that we've talked about so far, the live captions and the post-call transcription, you can see that kind of workflow on the bottom. You can think of live captions is almost like a real-time transcription use case. Post-call transcription is where we take the recording and then convert that into a transcript, and then potentially summarize it after the fact. And then our audio connector, which is what the services are built on in the backend, is going to be a bidirectional WebSocket feature where we can connect to third-party speech recognition services or speech to text services that will allow you to build custom versions of these. So our backend, we use AWS, but if you had your own preferred provider for kind of a real-time transcription or AI chatbot type use case, that we would be able to connect to a third party using that bidirectional WebSocket. Great. So there's a few ways I wanted to talk about the audio connector. So this would be kind of fall into the realm of what you can do with it. Like I said before, we have a couple use cases built in, but if you're looking for a custom use case, we have a lot of customers that have built variations of the use cases here. Things like automated translations, where you want to do real-time translation, where I talk, for example, I talk in a language, I talk in English, and Chris here's in Spanish. That type of use case. Voice AI agents or bots are becoming very popular where I can do so, for example, I can do intake for a video meeting. I can ask questions using AI and not have to have a person handle that interaction. In session announcements as well. So having use cases where you actually are able to respond to things people are saying in a call and plug audio back into the call from a bot. Transcription, note taking, and summarization is becoming quite popular as well. There's a lot of existing tools that have been built to do this, and the advantage of what we're providing is you can integrate your own, so you can convert everything people are saying into text and then summarize all the key points. And then, of course, live captions, which is going to be the kind of that real time transcription use case that we were talking about before. Great. So I guess we can dive into what it actually take to do some of the integrations. So to start off, we'll talk about what it looks like to integrate live captions. In general, some of the benefits that we see from live captions, one of the main things is that it's going to be more affordable compared to a human interpreter. That's something that we have many customers that have integrated or connected with kind of real human interpreters today. Being able to do this in an automated fashion can be much more cost affordable. And it also can be used as a foundation for transcription and translation. So you take this, you use it as a real time transcription functionality, and then you can kind of use that as a basis to build more complex use cases on top of it. All right, and then we can hand it off to Chris to play this video here of a demo. So in the video, we're actually going to be showcasing a conversation between two users in our video reference app. This is going to be an open source sample that all of you will have available, and you can see kind of the back and forth conversation and what we've built from a UI perspective in terms of what the live captions look like.
Sorry, now my thing doesn't want to advance. Just a moment. Okay. If that video didn't play, please let me know. We have an alternate way of playing it, but hopefully that did come across. Um, the nice thing about captions is it's already very much baked into the video API. So you can actually start doing a caption session by calling the REST API endpoint. And then on the publisher itself, you can add publish captions true to turn those on. One, it turns captions on in general, and then the captions on the publisher will allow you to publish captions for you. And then for the individual subscribers, you can subscribe to those by using the subscribe to captions flag as well. And then we offer a captions received event handler if you want to do any extra work. But we pretty much take care of all of the heavy lifting in the both the client side SDK and the server side SDK for setting this up. So you don't need any special server setups like WebSockets or specialized languages to work with any of this. We automatically pipe the audio to a transcription service, package that up as the caption in and of itself, and then display it onto the publisher or subscriber. And like I said, you also get the events, so you can handle those as you want. But if you're just looking for like the basic captions, like we were talking about for the FCC regulations, this will automatically get that ball rolling for you, and there's very little overhead from the development standpoint.
Great. So we can also cover now adding post-call transcription. So captions would be kind of more of the real-time use case. Post-call transcription is going to be getting a transcript after a call. So some of the situations where you might want to do this, it would be as a replacement for note taking in general. This is a very common use case that we're seeing where you can free up participants to actually focus on a discussion, automate notes, and then send them out afterwards. You also can use it from a compliance perspective for creating permanent records of conversations. Anytime you are in a situation where you may need to save a video recording of a call, you also might want to save a transcript because it enables you to more easily search and find things later on. And then the last thing we can do kind of detailed analysis and summary of conversations or groups of conversations where you can get more insight into, say, a sales call or customer analytics in general. Great, and then we can play a video here for the a demo of the real time um, or the post call transcription. And Chris, I don't know if you want to narrate over this while it's
Oh, okay,
going.
so the audio not coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did joined a video session. We started an archive with the flags. I did a bunch of talking to myself, and once the transcription is available, which usually only takes a few minutes on a shorter video, it can take a little bit longer because it is post-processed. We get back a link to a zip file that contains a JSON file with everything all broken out. So we can see we've got the job ID, we have the timestamp for when the archive was taken, and then the overall confidence, so how well it thinks it did with the transcription. And then it also goes through and breaks things out into different text segments. So kind of based on when people are pausing in text, it tries to kind of like chunk things up. So that was a bunch of chunks of the segments of what I've talked to, as well as timestamps with the video as well. So if you want to do further post-processing to do your, for example, to generate captions, files for like subtitles or things like that, we provide you the full timestamp in the of the archive, so you can match those up one to one and turn around and work on those. The nice thing is we handle all of that again on the back end. You just turn on the has transcription flag, and we will handle all of that. The other nice thing, which we just announced recently too, is summarization. So if we do the post-call transcription, not only will we give you back that time-stamped full transcription, person by person, word by word, we can also summarize the entire meeting down as well. So you won't have to take wait for a full video to be archived, then pull the audio from it to text, then pass it off to someone else. We can do that as the full post-processing pipeline with the archiving. Um, I have seen a couple questions in the past before about exactly how that works. We do require the archive to be done. So if you do not record the meeting to an archive, there won't be anything for us to post process. So to use the post call transcription or summarization, you will have to generate an archive and then we extract that from the archive because we're not doing real time transcription of that. Even with captions, captions are very much flash in the pan. We do it as the captions come across. We don't store those long term. That way to increase the privacy of what you're doing. We're not going to store that data by accident or without your knowledge. With the archive, we can do that post processing and then encrypt everything at rest until you go to pull that down. If you're using our S3 storage, we will automatically use that to transfer things up. But once you get the event back on the back end for the archive, you can pull down the transcription data and then work with it from there. So here's how you would actually enable that. So when you go to create an archive, one of the options, in addition to whether you're recording the audio and video, is has transcription. You just set that to true. By default, it's false. And then if you want the summary as well, you can send in a optional transcription properties. Here we're just showing the summary flag. If you want to turn that on, by default it's off. But you can also do things like set the preferred language. If you know that a specific language is being spoken heavily in a session, you can preset that so that it doesn't try to incorrectly transcribe, say like French to English, and then runs into a bunch of problems. So you can set different properties like that as well. So again, you still create the properties the same way as normal. There's just a couple extra flags, and we handle all of that for you.
And Chris, do you want to pull up that next slide so we can see an example of that as
Oh, yep.
well? Great.
Did that pop it up there? There we go. Okay. My slides do not want to cooperate today, but yeah. So there's a couple of flags that you need to set for those.
Great. And last but not least, the bidirectional audio connector. So this is kind of what we call a do your own solution or build your own solution. If our pre-built implementations aren't exactly what you're looking for, if you have a preferred vendor for some of these services, or if you just want to have a custom use case that is not supported, that's where the bidirectional audio connector comes in. So as we mentioned before, there's a number of different use cases that you can use. It kind of is whatever you can imagine, taking the audio and processing it however you want. So the most common use cases we've seen today are going to be transcription, captions, AI agents, and then real-time translation. Great. So there's a couple of different AI workflows we have here that we're showcasing. So I'll just quickly describe this diagram on the right. Um, you can imagine that the audio is coming out of a Vonage video session, and it's going to be hitting a server run by our customer or yourselves. That's a secure bidirectional WebSocket server, and then from there you're going to be able to plug in multiple different services. So, for as an example, you could just for a speech to text use case at the top there you can see go straight from the server to a speech to text engine. Um, and that's all that's all you would need to output some captions or transcripts. Or you could do a more complicated use case where you send what you see at the bottom, you send the audio from the WebSocket to a speech to text engine. In this case, it's the Google GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Pass the text on to an LLM like OpenAI, and then pass that back to a text to speech platform like 11 Labs, and then send that back into the session. And so, as you can see, you can kind of mix and match different services and different providers to create more robust or more complex use cases.
Okay, I'm gonna try something slightly different here. Hopefully this works.
This is a demo of Vonage's new bidirectional audio connector API. I'm going to demo it today by connecting to an AI voice agent. Let me connect to the voice agent now. Hi,
Hello, how can I assist you today?
can you describe Vonage's video API in 3 words?
reliable, scalable, versatile.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's it. And just for some context there, so this is a demo I created in our Playground tool, which is a pre-built. They give it as a pre-built application, and that was just to showcase how easy it is to actually connect that audio connector to any existing pre-built application.
Yeah. So uh, here we have how to actually like set that up. In this case, what it requires is a couple extra things running on the back end. One, once you've created a session and you have some people connecting to it, you will need to initiate a WebSocket connection. So this is a separate REST API call that will need to be done. It requires a client-side authentication key, just like you would with a regular client connection key that you would push up to the client application. We need that for the WebSocket as well, because that tells it what session we're connecting to and some other things like that. Um, the address for the WebSocket server itself. So you will need a WebSocket server actually already up and running for this to connect to. Uh, Depending on the platform you're using, this could either be a Lambda function or another server. It's usually running alongside your backend application server. Not usually a part of, but it can be. So we need to know the address of that WebSocket. You can also decide what streams are being passed into it. Uh, and this will actually pass the audio down to it. So a WebSocket is basically a binary endpoint that will take all of the information. We send a couple like header text messages, but then we basically just pipe raw audio down to this. What we also have on here now is the ability to do this bidirectionally. So in the past, we could easily receive audio and you could pass those datagrams off to like a sentiment analysis or a speech to text model or any of those kind of things. But what we actually allow you to do now is using that same WebSocket, be able to push audio back up to the session. If you're already using something like DeepGram or OpenAI to accept data to work with and you want to get information back, the only thing you need to do is change the bidirectional to true in the connection, the WebSocket Connect options. If you want to start playing with this today, the bidirectional is already available, so you can start making those WebSocket calls and get those set up. So in that case, that's most of the technical aspects of all of this. We try to handhold a lot of this for you, like I said. So like definitely like captions and transcriptions all baked in. You can do that all in basically one platform now. You don't have to worry about integrations. But if you do require something special, we have the audio connector, uh, which you can use directionally or unidirectionally or bidirectionally. If you have any questions on running any of this stuff, you can check out our developer documentation either at developer.vonage.com, or I would suggest connecting to us in Slack, in our community Slack. So if you go to developer.vonage.com/community/Slack, you can go there, get a link to our Slack channel, and be able to be connected for video as well as any of the other uh, uh, APIs that we have. If you need very specialized help, we do offer customer solutions engineers and architects. So Alex is one of them here today. So you can email him at alexander.wu@vonage.com. Or we also have Michael Vernick, who has been on a couple of our other knowledge quests. You can email him as well if you have any specific questions. Because again, we fully understand that a lot of people have very customized applications, and video is a very specialized kind of setup when you're building these. So we are happy to take any of those questions after the fact or at any time you have them. But other than that, if there are any questions, we will go ahead and do those now. If you are not currently a developer, we have a QR code. You can use that to create your free developer account. We give you a couple euros in credit, but we also offer a coupon code here as well to give you 10 additional dollars. And then video accounts have 2,000 free minutes to be able to play with a lot of the video API as well. And again, if you haven't joined our Slack, we have a QR code for the Slack as well. I will pop back over to here and see if there are any questions. And I don't see any. But again, if you do have any questions, feel free to pop over to our community Slack or send us an email. We would love to talk with you about what you're either any issues you're having or what you would like to build, and kind of go from there. So I thank everybody for your time and the couple of technical issues we had. But otherwise, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.